Something that I feel a little bit sideways about is like having to make a decision in your first year about what major that you want to go into because honestly, life's not set in stone. Things can change, your passions can change, your interests can come from different places. And so I don't think people should treat that first year decision like, oh, this is the path that I have to go through for the next 3 years of my life.
Right.
Rather, I think you should always feel free to change your major depending on what your passions are. And I think part of university is not getting that on that right path right away, not having things like set out for you every single year, but it's about discovering who you are as a person and what drives you and what you want to do at the end of your undergrad.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where I talk about university tips, personal development, and personal projects. And I want to welcome you guys to the first ever episode of our interview series called Learn More, Move Different, where we invite special guests to talk about their life and their stories because I believe when you learn more about people's stories within their given field and you learn about their actions, we can change our actions to move different and grow as people. And I'm super excited to announce our first guest and introduce him. His name is Michael Coe, and he's a fifth year engineering physics student at the University of British Columbia. And I've had the pleasure of knowing him and meeting him at the beginning of this year. And after meeting him, I thought, he's a really hardworking person. And he actually inspired me after seeing his TED Talk, where he created a voice activated remote control for his brother's wheelchair. And Michael will explain himself a lot more and deeper about his actions and what he's done throughout the interview. But I do want to plug his TED Talk, where he talks about wanting to make a voice activated remote control for his brother's wheelchair. And I just want to give a special thanks for Michael for joining me in my first ever interview. And I'll leave timestamps in the description where I will specify certain topics that we talk about within those given time frames if you want to skip into those. But I suggest listening to the full video as he provides a lot of value for those within my channel who want to know more about university tips because he's experienced almost through the end of it and he's planning to graduate next year. So tune in and listen to the interview. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and let's get over to 300. And I appreciate all your support so far. We're almost at 250. All right. See you guys in the interview. Peace.
So my name is Michael. I'm currently a fifth year engineering physics student at UBC. I'm currently on my co-op term working at Cardium for this summer and then up until December. And then hopefully I'll be graduating next year in my sixth year of UBC.
All right. Awesome, man. Yeah. Thank you for doing this interview again. I really appreciate it. I really wanted to talk to you first of all because I watched your TED Talk and it was like really awesome. And I just like enjoyed the whole thought process behind it and just like seeing your design process and seeing how it applied to your brother. I was just curious, like, do you want to explain what you did for your project and and what you did for your TED Talk?
Yeah, for sure. So maybe to give a bit of background, I have an older brother, and we come from South Korea. He's 7 years older than me, but he has a condition called Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is a condition that physically weakens his muscles over time. So he used to be able to walk around and move, but he isn't able to do that anymore due to his condition. So ever since I was a child, I've always wanted to do something to help my brother. Back then, the only things I could really do was give him a massage or like give him a nice hug or a fist bump to encourage him. But as I went into university and pursued engineering, I kind of thought about how else I could help my brother, and that was through technology. So a project that I worked on for him was to create a voice-controlled wheelchair, and that was because my brother he couldn't move his hands anymore, but maybe through the use of technology and his voice, he could still control and move around in his wheelchair. So that process was a mix of just software, mechanical, and electrical training a neural network to understand my brother's voice and then integrating that with his electric wheelchair through a mock joystick controller that I 3D printed and designed. And ultimately, at the end, my brother Daniel was able to go back onto the wheelchair and say the go command and the wheelchair just like moved forward, which was really rewarding to see. Not just from an engineering perspective, but also just as family, seeing my brother go back on his chair.
Right, that's awesome. I was just curious, how long did that take?
Good question. I think when I first started, I was in my second year after finishing
Uh,
first year university.
right.
And I think, oh no, after finishing my second year of university. And then I learned how to create a neural network. And I think that was about like 4 months. And then afterwards, next summer, I continued work. And that was like another 4 to 6 months to integrate everything onto the wheelchair.
Wow. So it was
So like a
a long,
year, I guess, total of actual work.
right. It's a long process, but definitely rewarding in the end because it was definitely awesome to see the wheelchair in motion. When I got to see the video, it was awesome. What was the command again? It was
Oh yeah, it was Ava Go, and so Ava is the name of the voice recognition assistant, but it's also a character from Wall-E, and it's a movie that my brother and I watched together when we were younger. Yeah, back then we really liked watching Wall-E, but then over time I realized, hey, Wall-E, there's two robots that help humanity. Why not name this voice recognition helper after one of them?
right. That's awesome. Yeah, and then I think we'll touch on that a little bit more later on, but I just wanted to start off like asking about like you and like your past, like how was your life like before university and just like growing up, I guess.
Yeah, so what was life like before UBC engineering? Oh, it was splendid. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, my family came to Canada. So we're from South Korea. I have my mom, my dad, my older brother Daniel, and me. And we moved and immigrated to from South Korea to Canada when I was about 18 months old. So I've been living here ever since. I grew up in near Metrotown. I lived in Burnaby for about, I think, preschool to grade 5. And then I moved to another co-op townhouse in Burnaby, and that was because that co-op house was wheelchair accessible, and so Daniel could live in that house. But I remember, like during my younger years, I spent a lot of time together with Daniel doing random things. So we would go out on a picnic. Um, Daniel and I would build Lego together. I think we built a lot of Lego when we were younger. We still build it today here and there, so that tradition's carried on through. And I remember playing a lot of games with my brother. We played this one game called StarCraft. It's like a Korean game that was really popular back in like the 2000s. But this man Daniel knew all the cheat codes. So whenever we played a StarCraft, like he would be typing away the cheat codes, and I'd just be like, "Why am I dying so fast?" That's how I spent my younger years. That's what I remember mostly, just growing up with family in Burnaby. And then for high school, I moved to Surrey, and that's where I'm currently living. Uh, and yeah, in high school, I think that's the period of time where you just meet a lot of new friends, try new sports. I did track and field when I was in high school. I went to Fleetwood Park, and Fleetwood Park is also a dancer school. So they have this dancing course that you can take in grade 11 or 12. So I took that course coming from zero dance background, but had a blast in that course and met some really amazing people. And yeah, we did like this Broadway dance team at the end. So
Right.
I'd say like before university, my life was just a lot of trying a lot of different things, spending time with family, and I think just getting to know the friends that I have around me as well.
Right. That's awesome. And like, did you know you wanted to do engineering back then, like in high school, or like, I guess you know by grade 12 what to apply in, but like beforehand, did you have any idea what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so actually, when I was like grade 5, I wanted to be the Prime Minister of Canada.
Oh,
But that's like young dreams. But
yeah.
more realistically, I wanted to be a lawyer actually
Oh, okay.
before I think grade 9, 10. And I think that's because my entire family side, like none of my family is either science or engineering or medicine. They're all like arts, bankers, lawyers. And so my father, he was a banker as well.
Mm,
And so I always thought like, oh, I'll go pursue this field of arts and law, and I found that interesting. But I think somewhere in the middle of high school, after taking science courses, I really found my passion and love for technology, and yeah, that's led me to where I'm at right now.
Okay, that's awesome. And like, um, in high school, did you like, I don't know, play around with like any engineering clubs or anything of that sort, or was it just like once you got into school, you, I don't know, tried out new things within like, I don't know, coding or like mechanical design?
Yeah, good question. I think in terms of school, there's two places where I think I found my passion in engineering, and one's from school, and the other one's from home. So from school, I remember taking a lot of electronics and drafting and design courses. It's
Mhm.
really basic circuitry, right? You don't go too in depth. I think we use AutoCAD to like make a small chair
Right,
um, that we never even built at the end, just like modeled it.
right,
And drafting and design, I remember making like a wooden car. I still have that with me in my other room. But I think just getting exposure to this side of engineering, and I think the creativity that comes from these classes is what really drew me in. A lot of the times, like engineering projects, there's no real one solution, and I really like that because it really opens your mind to creativity. And at the end of the day, there's so many different ways to solve a problem that you just find yourself having to innovate and having to think outside of the box.
right,
Uh, yeah, so the second that's where my passion I came from in regards to school, but there was also a big part of that being played back at home, and that was because my brother he got a lot of medical devices to help him throughout his life, the wheelchair being one of them. And I
right.
remember just fixing the wheelchair here and there whenever it broke. And I think slowly, like after I'm tinkering around with the chair or seeing all these other medical devices that help my brother's life, I got a lot of inspiration. And I think that really drew me into engineering and how I could use my skills and talents to help other people like Daniel.
And did you notice that in high school? So that was in high school?
Yeah, so near grade 11 and 12 and 10, I started to notice that these devices really helped change my brother's life, and I found myself being more passionate about not only replicating it to others, but also pursuing that field in my future as well.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. That's cool to know. And I was curious, like, what? So you in grade 12, you applied to like to go to UBC. What did you have like on your application, like extracurricular wise, like grades? What was that process like for you?
Yes, it's definitely a very nervous time, right? You're
Yeah.
applying to university straight out of high school. I feel like now that we're in university, we're like, ah, that was nothing. But like back then, that was like, oh man, I gotta like read through every letter and make sure there's no typo.
Yeah,
Um,
it's definitely a stressful period. It's everything for us at that time.
Honestly, yeah, right. I guess we can start off with the two things, right? So grades and extracurriculars.
Mhm.
I remember coming out of high school, I think my grades were very strong in the physics and sciences.
Mhm.
And I think UBC engineering, they tend to focus on your pure science courses, so math, science, chemistry, physics, especially.
Right.
So it would be good to focus on those courses and try to do well in those courses. Of course, English is also there, and it's important too, but just to make sure that you focus on learning important concepts in those core math physics courses is important for university.
Right.
Um, and then for extracurriculars, I actually didn't have too much that was related with engineering. I volunteered a lot for my church. And
Cool.
so I feel like I drew a lot of inspiration from there too, because through volunteering for church, we served homeless communities, we served Indigenous First Nations, and you begin to see that um, there's a lot of different things that happen in the world and a lot of different ways that you can use your talents and skills to solve these challenges. And so I wrote a little bit about that in my personal application as well. Not just the tech side of things, but also humanitarian. What are your experiences in your personal journey? Uh, what kind of challenges do you see in the world? and how do you identify solutions or workarounds to those challenges?
Right.
Yeah. So I
I feel
remember
like,
writing about that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Gaurab.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I feel like it's really key, especially during that time. Like, I think volunteering and like doing those kind of services, like, you just see so much more, and like, I don't know,
Yeah.
you see different communities and like how you can support and help those. I think it just builds like empathy, compassion, just like, and just work ethic, I guess, in general too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really important to be raw and honest in your application as well.
Mhm.
Whether you're applying for university, for co-op internships, I feel like they'll know if you really have a passion for this topic that you're writing about, or whether you're just putting it on there. And so, part of volunteering is finding these different organizations you can help out, but also finding your passions in what you want to do in your future as well. Which I thought was great about volunteering, not only being able to help other people, but realizing what really drives you at the end as well.
Right. That's awesome. So we got through applications, and then now you're in first year. How was that, like, that experience, that transition from being in the BC high school system and then you going into UBC
Yeah.
engineering?
Yeah, so I think, 9 out of 10 people that I talk to say like, oh, coming out of high school to first year, it's like a different change, right? And I personally felt that too, because um, like Gaurav, we take a lot of courses in our first year.
Yeah.
It's different coming from like taking 4 courses in high school, and then
Yeah.
boom, you suddenly have like 7, 8 courses to do in your first year per semester.
Right.
So it was definitely a big jump, I'd say, but I'd say that I was excited to go into those courses because it felt like coming out of high school in engineering, we're starting to learn practical stuff that we can use to help solve these challenges that we face.
Right.
And I really liked first year, to be honest, because it allowed me to meet uh, new people and make new lifelong friendships. So a lot of friends that I have right now in my 5th year of university, I've met in my first year, and that's carried on throughout my first, second, third, 4th year. And so, I'm really thankful for the people that I met and the bonds that I created, which I
Right.
think is a super big plus about university, UBC, or any other universities, is the variety and the wide range of people that you can meet in your post-secondary education. And
Right.
so, aside from the late nights together, ordering Domino's pizza, kind of, consoling each other after midterms, like, oh, dude, you got that wrong, dude. I got 5 other things wrong.
Yeah.
Building that kind of camaraderie, I think I remember a lot in the first year. And so,
Right.
even though it was like a tough year in terms of academics, I'm super thankful for my friends who helped me get through that year. And that's something I really encourage for anyone coming into UBC or engineering majors, is to really find a group that you can study with, encourage each other, and just celebrate with after your midterms and your finals. And that will just naturally, I think, transition into a really good friendship as
Right.
well.
I'm curious, did you meet them in like your first classes, or like where did you meet them? Because for me personally, I remember I met my first friend within my first math class that I went to. And then from there on, he knew a couple people, and then we ended up just meeting. And it was like all really random and scattered, but like by the end of it, we were studying like every day together. So like, I'm really big on the friendship part too. So I'm curious about your experience.
Yeah, Garab, it's really similar to yours. So out of my high school, I think there were a couple of friends that I had come going into UBC engineering with me. And so in the beginning, I hung out with my friends, but then one of my friends introduced me to a new group of friends. And I think, once you meet someone new, you start to like see that, oh, there's all these other friends or other people that I can connect with. So my friend introduced me to a whole bunch of other friends, and those friends became my core friend group throughout my years of university.
Right, that's awesome. And I was curious, did you commute from Surrey?
I lived in residence in my first year.
Oh,
It,
okay.
wa- it was great. It was quite humorous though, because in your first year, so the residences are like Totem Park, Orchard Commons. Um, I remember, I forget where else, but you
Yeah.
have all these like first year residences. Ah, Vanier.
Oh, yeah, Vanya.
Um,
Yeah.
but in my first year, I didn't even get any of those places. I got this place called Ritsumaken,
Oh,
and
really?
Ritsumaken is you're supposed to be there like I think it's like 19 plus for age, but I was 18, and I somehow managed to like sneak in there. So I think I was living with the people, like quite a few people that are older than me, but it was a really good experience because I got to make friends with them too,
Right.
and yeah, just meet like other people who I didn't think I would meet. And so, that in itself became a really good opportunity to meet other people and to make new friendships too.
Right.
It was always
Okay.
kind of sad though. Like our Ritsumaken is like a small cottage, and then right
Okay.
beside Ritsumaken, you see Orchard Commons, which is like the new fancy kid on the block.
Right.
So I think coming into my first year, that was when Orchard Commons was just finished.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it just had that new cafeteria and everything.
Yeah, so I always went to go eat there, and then I came back to Ritz.
Right, right. Okay, that's good to know. So like you're in residence and then did you know that you wanted to pursue engineering physics? Because engineering physics, everybody talks about it within like first year, like, oh, what are you trying to get into? And everybody talks about, oh, eng phys is kind of hard to get into, CPenn's kind of hard to get into. So I was just curious, did you want to get into eng phys, like going straight off the bat?
Good question. My initial goal was actually not EngPhys. It was biomedical engineering specialization in mech was
Oh,
what I was actually wanting to go into first. And it was like a three-way dilemma because I think biomedical engineering, the new major, was just coming out when I think I was closing off my first year. So it's either biomedical engineering or biomedical engineering with mech specialization or EngPhys. And
okay.
so I actually applied to biomed in mech first and got accepted, but later changed my mind and then went into EngPhys. And I think the big reason why is that I wanted to still try a few different things before making a decision.
Right,
And I think um, something that I feel a little bit sideways about is like having to make a decision in your first year about what major that you want to go into because honestly, life's not set in stone. Things can change, your passions can change, your interests can come from different places. And so I don't think people should treat that first year decision like, oh, this is the path that I have to go through for the next 3 years of my life.
right,
Rather, I think you should always feel free to change your major depending on what your passions are. And I think part of university is not getting that on that right path right away, not having things like set out for you every single year, but it's about discovering who you are as a person and what drives you and what you want to do at the end of your undergrad. And so, I think I kind of wanted to discover more about that too, which kind of led me into EngPhys because you try a few different courses from different majors, but you also have technical electives that you can specialize in.
right,
So yeah, that drew me into EngPhys, and also just the quality of people that I met in the Phys was really amazing. The people that I've met, super accomplished, super motivated, and I think the people that you surround yourself with is really important as well. So
right.
those factors kind of led me into Phys.
Okay. And it is a very like it's a competitive program to get into. So I was just curious, like, what did you do in your first year to get into the program itself?
Yeah, so in my first year, I made sure to study well for my courses, right? So a
Mhm.
program like Phys, your grades are very important, especially in math and physics. So if anyone out there wants to try to get into Phys, make sure you focus on your courses. Academics is important.
Mhm.
Um, I also joined the student team in my first year called BEST, Biomedical Engineering Student Team. I love that team. The projects on that team were really incredible and interesting. And so I worked on a design team my first year as well. And then um, what else? I think I just put, I think those are the two main things in my application for Fizz.
Right. And then you also went through the interview process. Was it just like a general interview?
Yeah, so the interview is like a five five portion interview. So I remember getting interviewed by five different people, which made up the core. teaching group of Fizz,
Oh, okay.
including the director. His name is Andre. Yeah, so there was like a 5-person interview that I had to go through.
Oh, okay. And was it just general interview?
Super. Go
Was it
ahead.
just like general interview questions, or was it intimidating at first when you first walked into the rooms?
Yeah, so like before before your interview starts, you're like out in this waiting room. I think it's like on the bottom floor of uh, Irving,
Okay.
near the Victoria Theater, but you're just sitting there waiting for your time to come. And, as you're sitting there, you're like, oh man, this is like the interview. So you start to get a bit nervous, right? And
Right.
I think there's like 5 other people getting interviewed too. Of course, you guys, so the interview process is there's 5 candidates and 5 interviewers, and every interviewer interviews every candidate. So you go on like a rotation.
Oh, okay.
So there's never 2 people interviewing at the same time, but it's like you meet every interviewer on a rotation.
Right.
Yeah, so you get like nervous at the start because you're waiting there out in the lobby.
Right.
Um, but I think as you do the interview and the questions they ask can actually I won't say too much about the questions they ask. We'll keep that a secret. But
Okay. Yeah.
I think you really start to see, what kind of qualities they look for in Fizz, and if you yourself, if you are a good fit for Fizz as well.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
And how's your experience within EngPhys? So now you're in fifth year, and like, what do you think separates engineering physics from like other programs? And like, I don't know, what are the things that you took away from the program itself?
Yeah. So, um, uh, first off, I think every program has really strong pros as well, whether it's CPEN, MEC, ELEC, iGen, Biomed, EngPhys. They each have their own strengths, and I think every single one of them are fantastic programs. Uh, what I can personally say from EngPhys is one of the greatest strengths about EngPhys is the community and the people there. Um, Again, just the people that you get to meet in Fizz are very highly motivated people, very intelligent people, very inspirational. And I think having that group that you can grow with in like the next 4 years and support each other through your homeworks and just get to know more on a personal basis was
Right.
something that I really liked about Fizz. And even until now, like a core group of friends that I have come from Fizz, and I know that I'm going to be talking and catching up with those guys for the next like years or our lifetime as well.
Right.
It's like lifelong friendships that I think that I made in Enchvis that I'm really thankful for. Another
Okay.
part about Enchvis that I really liked is the courses that we took. So
Mhm.
it wasn't just like specialized courses we took, but we took courses from CPEN, ELEC, and MEC. And even though we can't go to depth depth as like though people in those majors go in their respective like ELEC, MEC, and CPEN courses,
Mhm.
it was still really nice to get like a glimpse of everything, because I think having that allowed not only me but my friends as well to later take their technical electives in the courses that we found interesting, and those came from our experiences in second and third year taking all these different courses. Um, and another thing that I really like about Fizz is the co-op program. So we go on co-op in our second year, and I think that was really instrumental because it's different studying in university and actually going on a co-op and working at like a real internship, because you learn things on your internship that you wouldn't necessarily learn on your co-op. Sorry, on your schoolwork, which I think is the reason why co-op is so important. And Fizz has a really good co-op program for that that I'm super thankful to have gone through.
Right. That's awesome. And like, yeah, so like I remember I have like a friend in EngPhys as well, and he was telling me you have to start applying right away within like the first semester you're in EngPhys, because in the second semester you're going to be in co-op, right? So what was that like?
Yeah, so you literally go in. Yeah, so it's a little bit awkward, right? Because you finish your first year, you're like a baby engineer, and all of a sudden you got to go apply for an internship.
Yeah.
So for UBC, our co-op program is you got to apply 4 months before the actual internship starts. And because our first co-op for EngFiz is scheduled in the second term of our second year, we have to start applying in the first semester of our second year. But that's when we just got into Fizz. Like, what can we really say?
Right.
So I think the first co-op was a long process. I remember sending out a lot of applications. I think I was really lucky because I got an offer in my first month,
Oh,
and I pursued that offer as well. But I remember that period of time was was really hit or miss for me and my friends.
right.
Yeah,
That's
but I think at the end of the day, like everyone in our group did get a co-op.
oh, okay. So that's awesome. So like it's usually like a group of 40 students every year, right?
60.
Oh, it's 60?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. That's awesome. Everybody got one. That's really awesome. So yeah, like so you said the first um co-op experience took quite a lot of time, and was it the same thing that you had within your application to go to engineering physics? So like you had that design team and you had your courses. Did you have any personal projects that you've done on your resume as well?
Yeah, so I think the personal projects that I put on my resume or the projects that I put was my design team. I think that really helped a lot. But also the first year projects that we do in engineering. I don't think I did other projects, but rather the projects that we did in our coursework, I put that on there, and I found that to be helpful for the first internship because after the first internship, obviously you can put the first co-op that you've done as part of your experience, and that helps a lot. But
Right,
for your first internship, I think just putting anything that you can on there that the details about and that you can talk about would be good.
right. So you put down like the cardboard. Did you put the cardboard chair down and like the autonomous claw?
I put the claw down. I didn't put our cardboard chair down.
Okay.
Yeah. I think for us, our cardboard chair broke when the TA sat on it.
Okay, yeah, ours
we
did too.
didn't even.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah. Good
Uh,
memories though.
yeah, it was good times. Um, so I was curious. So we're on the topic of internships and like co-op. What were your past internships and like what did you learn from them?
My first internship was at Kodak Canada. It was their headquarters in Burnaby, and I was working as a electromechanical engineer, and more specifically testing using test jigs to perform some experiments for the company as well. So that first co-op I really took as a learning experience because I never had any job experience before. I think the closest thing I had to job experience before then was newspaper delivery when I was in grade 8, right?
Right.
So being my first real technical job, I just tried to soak everything that I could, and I asked a lot of questions. I knew that I didn't know a lot, but instead of thinking that you know I shouldn't ask questions, I think that's all the more reason to ask a lot, become more familiarized with the work that you're doing, and really take your first co-op as something you can learn and grow from. So that's how I approached my first co-op, and that helped me a lot to develop not only as a co-op student, but also as a future engineer, right? You have to take responsibility over your own work. And I think that first starts with being, you know, asking a lot of questions and making sure that you understand everything that's going on.
Right.
My second co-op was at A&K Robotics in downtown Vancouver. I was working there as a robotics engineering co-op student.
Hmm.
And it was really interesting because in my first co-op, I worked at Kodak, which is a big company. And then at A&K Robotics, it's more like a startup. And so I got to experience what it's like working in two different environments. And I'd say that both of them have their pros. What I really liked about Kodak was that everything was really structured. And so the team was set, you knew what you were doing. But what I liked in A&K was the flexibility that co-op students get in the fact that this company is a startup, so you get assigned multiple tasks,
Mm.
and I think from that you get to build up a skill set that you wouldn't have gotten in like a structured company. So not only was I working on robotics things, but I was also machining components, working on the electrical side, talking to the software team members, and that in itself gave me the it helped me learn how to wear multiple hats, and I feel like that's something that's really powerful and useful going into future engineering internships or jobs.
Right. So that second internship, was it after your second year?
My second internship actually, yeah, so it was after my second year. I'd say it was in my third year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, third year.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. And then do you have another internship after that as well?
Yeah, so I'm currently working at Cardium
Okay.
right now in Burnaby. They're a medical devices company, and I'm working as a software systems engineering co-op. So I just finished my first month, and I'll be there until December.
Right. And then what do you work on at Cardium? What specific project exactly?
Yeah, I don't know if I can go too into
Right.
depth,
Right.
but essentially, Cardium, what the company does is they've made a device that can treat atrial fibrillation. So they have a device that goes into the inside of your heart in your left atrium, and it treats this condition. I don't think I can say how, but essentially, it's a medical device that can help save lives. And I really like that about this co-op because I think even for any engineering job project, it's good to have purpose behind the work that you put in. And especially with a company like Cardium, where the work we do can help save lives in the future. I think it motivates me a lot just to go into work every day. And I feel really happy and excited to go into work because I know that the purpose behind what we do is good. And the purpose is to help other people.
Right. And I've noticed this about you, just like the things that you do always seem like clean-hearted and with a purpose, which I really enjoy. And I'm just curious, what led you to, like, I don't know, just always be like really passionate about what you do and like have like a, I don't know, like a good heart in mind while you're doing your things.
Oh, thanks for seeing me like that, Gaurab. I'm gonna tear up now. A lot of it I get from my childhood experience growing up with Daniel. I
Right,
think back then I saw a lot of how the devices that other people made really helped my brother in his life. And that really inspired me to become a person that can do the same for other people. And I think that's really important, not just in engineering, but just in life in general. Um, I think there's a reason why there's 8 billion other people on the earth. We're meant to live life together. And if we're meant to live life together, I think it's important that we're able to help and encourage one another through like the positives and negatives, whichever circumstance that we might go through.
right. That's
And
awesome.
so I think helping others is something that really makes me happy. Being able to support other people around me, see them succeed in the things that they do, um, help them in the areas that they need help in. I think I get the most satisfaction and happiness from that, which is why that leads me to do the things that I do right now, such as helping my brother or working at Cardium. I think these stem from that core childhood memories I have growing up with my brother.
Right. And is that the reason like you do your work? Because like a lot of what you do, it requires a lot of like deep work, deep thought, working long hours. Is that the reason why, what motivates you to do it day in and day out, or is there also another reason?
I'd say that's the primary reason. I think that it would be nice to work on something and then the next day see that something good happened because of it. But
Right,
in engineering, most of the time it's you work on it for a couple months and you finally see the fruits of your labor like a year or two later.
right,
But I think what really keeps me going is the fact that whatever small work I do today, even though it might not change anything, in one day, eventually I know that it's going to help someone in the future. And that really keeps me going every single day in the projects and the work that I do.
right. That's a great philosophy to live behind. And I was gonna say like also like you do a lot of work. I know you worked on that personal project too. Like what was your schedule like when you're I don't know, going through school, also working on a personal project, and you're also on design teams. I know it could be kind of busy.
Yeah, so in my first year, it was nice because I lived on campus, which meant that, during the week you finish all your schoolwork, and then on the weekends you do design teamwork, and that takes up a bit of time as well.
Right.
But starting in second year, I started to take care of my brother more, and that meant coming home on the weekends. So I stopped doing design teams in my second year,
Oh,
and
okay.
my schedule would have been to finish everything Monday to Friday for school, come back home, take care of my brother on the weekends, and then I had church on Sunday, which took up the full day as well because I volunteer for church as well.
Right.
And so my schedule was pretty much work or school Friday, Monday to Friday, helping Daniel on the weekend, and then church on Sunday.
Oh, okay. And what is your schedule like now, currently?
Yeah, so working is a lot more flexible than schoolwork
Right.
because there's no homework or exams. So right now I just work I just work the day, and then I come back home at night, spend some time with Daniel, go exercise a bit because it's really nice outside,
Right.
and just work on some personal projects that I have for Daniel or things that I've been working on. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd say that it's nice to have the night to just do what you want to do, and for me, it's half spending it with Daniel and half working on projects.
Right. And then I was also curious, is there anything that you do to like, I don't know, wind down, take care of yourself like mentally and physically, after like a long day of work, feeling stressed and things like that?
We actually have a garden in our backyard that my dad and I and my mother too have been growing. And something about like watering nature, I don't know, I feel really old saying this, but it's like it's really relaxing. And I think like when you start to see the plants come up, I really sound like an old person, but you get the point. It's like,
Yeah.
I think nature is very relaxing. I like hiking a lot as well. And
Okay.
so just like when you go to the peak of the hill that you're climbing or the mountain and you just add all the nature to be really relaxing.
Right. Yeah. I got a few house plants in my room itself, so I I connect with you on like the planting and like seeing it grow. It's a cool thing. And also, you touched on like you work on your church as a volunteer. What does faith mean into your life? And for me personally, I practice Hinduism, but I also understand that power is just faith and um, just something outside of yourself. And work like I don't know, just humanitarian wise, just looking after the people around you as well. So I'm just curious about what does faith mean to you?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that's very core and important to our family. I've been a Christian since birth, and so has my brother. And I think for us, our faith is something that's helped us get through tough times in our lives, especially for Daniel as well. Um, I think that whenever we go through hard times, we really bond together in faith. And there's our church community that really supports us as well. My friends, my brother's friends, my parents' friends. It really feels like one body and one community, which I've always appreciated and I've been really thankful for. Um, and in Christianity as well, we're really big about helping other people around us, whether it's our friends, family, those that we go to serve and volunteer with. So whether that's First Nations or just the local community in Surrey or the elders in nursing homes, it's really big on sharing love, I think, to other people around us. So faith
Right.
to me means all those things, and especially for our family, it's what's helped us go through the paths that we had, and it's what has kept us so close together.
Right. That's awesome, man. Yeah, because like I feel like uh, I don't know. It's always good to know how other people spend time with their faith and just their religion because I think in the main core we're all just trying to love and serve other people. So I think it's awesome for that part. And I was just curious, like, the university is always like a big process of like growth and stuff like that. So like, are there any resources that have helped your growth like throughout the years? Like books, podcasts, any videos that like inspired you, just anything of that nature?
Yeah, I'd say I started reading books more in my second year, and I started reading bibliographies more often. So I think there's like the bibliography of pretty successful engineers like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and recently I think Barack Obama's A Promised Land came out. And so I think reading those books have really helped me understand more about their personality, but it's also encouraged me to kind of look at my life in a different way as well. So definitely reading books, I'd say, is important. Um, Videos, I wish I went on YouTube more often. I feel like I should. Maybe I might regret saying that. But I haven't watched too many videos, so I can't comment too much on there. But I'd say like books are pretty important. Um, and yeah, I think the other thing that's been a big driver for me is just the friend group that I have, just being able to share my undergrad with them. That's been
Right,
a big driver for me too.
right. And like your your friends, I guess, also doing great things as well within their engineering paths. So
They are,
yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
they're incredible guys and girls.
Right, that's awesome. So yeah, just last three questions. Thanks for everything so far. So best piece of advice given to you within your life?
Don't be afraid to take things slow. There's no need to rush through life. There's no need to make sure that you have everything set for like the next 5 years. Part of living, part of growing is taking things one at a time and being able to learn and adapt to new things. So don't make impulse decisions. Just don't be afraid to take it slow and rather, enjoy everyday life. Don't forget to find happiness in the small things.
Right, that's awesome. Um, this is a funny one. Mac OS, Windows, or Linux?
Linux all the way.
Linux. Okay.
Linux.
And if you could leave a message to first year Michael, what would that be?
Redesign your cardboard chair because that one was pretty bad.
Was it really that
Uh,
bad?
no, it was no. My team did great. I think it was my idea that kind of made it go sideways. No, but in like on a more serious note, aside from the jokes, I'd say it's to find a lot of new opportunities and don't be afraid to try out new things. You grow, you learn by putting yourself out there, and so don't be afraid to try out new things that come up.
Right, that's awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for doing this interview. Do you have any places where if people want to reach out to you and talk to you or anything of that nature, what would they contact you in?
Yeah, so you can um you can find me on my YouTube channel. It's called Just Two Korean Brothers. So I share my life with Daniel on there too. You can always reach out to me there. Uh, I guess I have my Facebook and Instagram as well. My Instagram handle is at mtabulous, and my Facebook, if you search up Michael Co, then yeah, just shoot me a message and we can just get connected too.
Right, awesome. I'll also be linking the TED Talk onto this video if people want to check that out because it's awesome. He explains the whole uh, thought process behind his personal project for his brother, and I think it's like a really great video just to see that process itself. And is there any projects that you're working on you want to let other people know, or are you just keeping that a secret for now till it comes out?
There is a project that we're working on right now for Daniel. um, Daniel really likes playing games, as you mentioned in the beginning of the interview. And so we are controlling his computer with his voice commands to play a game. But I'll leave it at there for now.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. Thank you for this whole video and like answering all the questions. I'm sure it'll be really helpful for any other people within engineering or trying to apply to engineering just to get your advice from all the things your experience.
Yeah, thanks, Gaurab. It was a
Uh,
pleasure.
all right. Awesome. If you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and big thanks to Michael for joining me in my first ever interview. He provided a lot of value, which I really appreciate, and I'm sure you guys appreciate too. And make sure you guys tune into his TED Talk and subscribe to his channel with his brother, Just Two Korean Brothers, and it'll be in the description as well. And make sure you guys like the video if you found it valuable, and make sure to subscribe for more consistent content coming out soon. And I just want to say thank you for all the support so far. All right. See you guys in the next video. Until then, let's move different. Peace.